wondering why I was born human. It's a question that very few of us ask. And I personally like the line, resist the pull of the unmade bed. That one is, I'm one of those people who gets up and makes my bed right away, so it's not an option to go back to bed. So I think maybe I should make it unmade so that I don't resist that. Thank you for those images. And also, sleep is a country that they're not very kind. They don't let you in very often. And pack your suitcases and just insist. All right, thank you. Right, our next reader today is Kim Solez.
Okay. So I've had quite a specific challenge. Some of you may understand this challenge. In the tech space now, there's an author, Yuval Noah Harari. And people who only read one tech book a year have read all his books. So, Sapiens in 2014, Homo Deus in 2015, and 21 Lessons for the 21st Century in 2018. So he's probably the most articulate person and the most popular writer in the tech space now. So if you don't agree with him, you feel kind of outgunned, because you can't just put an ordinary comment somewhere because he's so much more better known and articulate than you are. So what I disagree with him on is the idea that in the future human culture is wrecked because all novels, plays, TV shows, movies, all of our cultural art relies on humans making pivotal decisions. And it's clear that in the future machines will be better at that. And we won't believe that at first. So we'll still choose our career path and our future mate and all that based on human decisions. But then we'll see that the people who use machines to make those decisions, their lives turn out much better than ours. And gradually, it'll just become absolutely apparent that if you have a big decision to make, you get this sentient machine that's much smarter now than human beings to make those big decisions. So he says that our culture is wrecked because how can you then do the things I mentioned, novels, plays, everything that depends upon this pivotal human decision-making. But if you read his book, Homo Deus, it's about a kind of new species created by technology, right? But in this instance, and what he's talking about in 2018, is us hitting a wall and no way beyond the wall that our culture's wrecked because machines are not making the decisions, they don't have their own culture, and so there's nothing to write about. To me, it seems that can't be correct. So what is the alternative to that? Well, as the world evolves in the future, I know most of you won't believe this, but the evidence for it's overwhelming. So, so not only will machines get smarter, but so will we. We'll have brain implants and so on. And originally, most of our accomplishments are still worthy of whatever name we hold because most of it's our biological brain. But eventually, more and more of it is, the implant doing the heavy lifting, right? So we're very smart, the machines are very smart. What are we going to do with all that intellect? Whoever said that we needed it, right? So I think what's missing, what Yuval Noah Harari has missed, is the idea that most human beings, maybe all of you, feel this sense of unfulfilled human reality. The things you want, you can't have. The things you want to do, you can't do. And so you feel this yearning every day. You wake up with a yearning, you go to sleep with a yearning, it's always there. That your life is limited, You have things you aspire to that you can never get to, right? And the reason for that, one of the reasons, is that you can't be in more than one place at one time, and you lack resources and so on. So you can imagine that actually technology will solve those things, and what we will use the extra intellect for is multi-threading. In other words, there won't just be one instance of you, but maybe 2, 3, 4, or 5. And if there are 5 different things you want to do, and if there are different places and they're at the same time, you can do them all. And then in the evening, this various instance of you can come back together, right? And share stories. And those 5 people, if you will get along very well because they're all you, right? So in the evening, they'll swap stories. The next day, they'll venture out into the world again. And it will no longer be the case that there are things you want to do that you can't do and the things you want to have that you can't have. So I think and think of the stories you could write about that. They are as rich as the stories being written today about this pivotal human decision making. So I think multi-threading then, the idea of the possibility of living multiple lives at the same time and then coming back and kind of comparing notes becomes the new way in which our culture is saved potentially. That's what this poem is about. Multi-threading is where we're heading, obviously. Can't you see? That's what in the future we'll use that extra intellect for. So instead of one life or 4 or more, all concurrent and in the moment. So everything fun and interesting that you want to do, you can. Even if events are in different places in the same short time span. Multi-boxing in video games. Now those of you who play video games know about multi-boxing. It is controlling several characters at once, which is almost exactly the same as what I'm talking about, right? So these multiple instances controlling multiple lives, people who play video games, some of them already know how to do this. Multi-boxing in video games, just a small instance of something that in real life will allow us to pounce on every desirable opportunity with characters that are still us, you see. And at the end of the day, all our diverse facets of personality can compare notes on the day's accomplishments endlessly. Boy, girl, won't my multiple instances of self have fun, swapping yarns about all the things they've done? And imagine how compatible they will be, since in the end, they're all really me. Every day lived with glorious concurrent adventures, and every night with grand stories told by raconteurs, multiple instances of ourselves, and gleeful as Santa's elves. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the poem. So I think I probably worn you out, and although I have 2 other poems.
No, one more.
One more. Okay, all right.
One more.
So, you may know about white papers. So in business, in medicine, in science, when you have a complex subject, you get a whole bunch of important leadership figures together and they write a white paper, and then people's thinking is organized and they know what's done and what isn't done and what needs to be done and so on. Then if you think about poetry, there are a billion poems about black and white. They're not about white papers. And as far as I know, no one has ever written a poem about a white paper. But I figured, why not? The digital pathology white paper, making the future great again. For a white paper to be white, it has to get everything right. The digital pathology white paper can't be just vaporware. There has to be lots of there. and community buy-in everywhere. The paper must meet a higher standard of rigor without rancor or accord, where Barasoni and Demetris both say yes, and RPS, TTS, and AST and others acquiesce. I know you don't know what any of those things are, but believe me, they're very important people and organizations in my field. Please help us make this star shine bright, and we will work into the night to get the nuances right. We can make this white paper gleam if we all work together as a team. Working together with our machine brethren, we can make the future great again.